What this self-contained system is a hologram. It's what I call the super hologram. Everything within it is an expression of that hologram. This is one of the great characteristics of a hologram, is that every part of a holographic picture is a smaller version of the whole.
It's as if reality is so connected that when you look at one small part, you can see things about other parts. That the entire whole is contained in the part. And in a sense, you can't divide reality up because we're cutting up a hologram. We can't find where one particle is because it's always a reflection of all particles.
In a hologram, the whole pattern is whole and complete unto itself, and if you were to take any little portion of this whole out and examine it closely, you will see the entire pattern repeating itself again and again and again. Anywhere in this pattern, if we were to change one little aspect on any one of these little holograms, that change would be reflected throughout the entire system.
Let's talk about consciousness a little bit. And in this video, we're talking about, okay, consciousness is an aspect of the material part of existence, meaning that it is a brain chemical process where certain, synapses and certain chemical processes are becoming and basically transform into your conscious thought at that moment. Okay, now we have to go into the whole idea that language, the idea is that everything that we are is everything else within society, meaning that we were taught what our parents were taught, we were taught what, so basically even our thoughts are not our own.
Quantum physics has revealed what ancient masters knew. Matter does not exist. The concept of substance arose from the philosophy of Aristotle, and from that concept came science's conception of matter. The fact of the matter is that the substance of the universe is consciousness. Belief that the substance of the universe is matter leads to what I call a fear-greed dichotomy, as people in their quiet desperation attempt to accumulate as many material possessions and riches as possible. In fact, the substance of the universe is consciousness. Therefore, it is behavior that is important.
That consciousness arises from something material, i.e., the brain and the chemical processes that go on inside the brain. Neurons firing and releasing neurotransmitters. My belief is, and I think that it is reasonable to believe, that everything that consciousness is results from these processes going on inside the mind, the physical processes.
Consciousness is a combination of all these things. It's not just one physical sensation over another. Completion of the whole state of your mind. It's not just all these individual processes that, make our arms move, or make our, sense smell, or make our, hands feel like, like it's wet, or it's hot, or it's cold,
Explain the processes inside the mind all you want, but when it comes to the taste of banana bread, as it was thought of, or the feeling of someone's hand, or any sort of sensation or emotion or whatever, you don't exactly know what that's like unless you experience it.
So individual thought is not your own. So individual thought is just basically, the ideas, the conceptions of others. So whenever you go into consciousness of thought, you're talking about being self-aware, being aware of your five senses and everything else, but at the same time being aware of everybody or anything else. Now, if you ever have looked into quantum physics and done anything in that field of nature, basically, they have studied consciousness quite a bit, and at the beginning they were like, consciousness is just the observer, like, something in the back of your mind or within your mind, because it's a...
I think that matter is itself endowed with feeling. That matter is inherently experiential. And that you don't get bodies without minds and minds without bodies. The technical term for this, if you want to do some research, is pan-experientialism. And the key word here is experience, because normally when we think of consciousness, we immediately assume we're talking about human beings.
And there's an ocean of pure, vibrant consciousness inside each one of us. And it's right at the source and base of mind, right at the source of thought, and it's also at the source of all matter.
There is no matter as such. All matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force which brings the particle of an atom to vibration and holds this most minute solar system of the atom together. We must assume behind this force the existence of a conscious and intelligent mind. This mind is the matrix of all matter.
Matter seems like a good place to begin. The solidity of the world seems totally indisputable. As a fixed thing that you can see and touch, your body is also reassuringly solid. But beginning with Einstein, modern physics has assured us that this solidity is a mirage.
All of physical matter, everything we have around us, is the result of a frequency. And what that also means is that if you amplify the frequency, the structure of the matter will change.
We can't see consciousness because seeing is itself consciousness. And so you can see the weird paradox that arises here. And it's that paradox that I'm trying to point to when I say that consciousness can't be reduced to the brain. So hopefully that's clear. I also wanted to comment on what you said about consciousness being inherently private. I'm not so sure it is. I think that if you really pay attention to your experience, your day-to-day experience among other people, you'll see that if there's a foundation to consciousness, it's really intersubjective. It's not strictly subjective and private, but it exists sort of in this field of relatedness with other subjects, such that our experience of ourselves is, if not dependent, then at least deeply related to the experience of everybody else we share our lives with. And we don't have to assume there's anything spiritual or metaphysical going on that connects us. It could just be as simple as the people we interact with physically on a day-to-day basis are as much in our minds as we are. And again, I'm not a dualist, so I don't think mind is separate from the physical world. It's the interior aspect of the exterior material surface, not separate from the matter. Just a different aspect of the matter, and it's hard to find the words to describe this, but
we should be very careful about what we believe about the future. The more you attach to a belief system, the more, if reality is holographic, you're helping create it by believing it. And the great clairvoyant Edgar Cayce said that our every thought, that reality is built out of thought, and our every thought starts to build reality, and every thought is like a spider, we're like spider spinning web, and that web starts to build and build.
Information is the key.
At the subatomic level, reality behaves in accordance with the expectation of the observer, or the measurer, the scientist. Why is that remarkable? Because everything in the universe is composed of those subatomic particles.
These atoms are particles that are whirling at lightning speeds around huge empty spaces, and the particles aren't material objects. They are fluctuations of energy and information in a huge void of energy and information.
And what the science now is showing is that when you can change the field, that the atom is in, you change the atom. And we're made of those atoms. So we have feelings in our hearts. We're changing the field that connects the stuff everything is made of, and we literally are altering our physical reality.
Once you establish the reality we live in, and the nature of what the physical body is, it's a biological computer, and the nature of what we are, which is consciousness, and then you start, as I have, looking at the way this world is structured and how it works and why they do this and why they do that, it suddenly brings into crystal clarity why the world is structured as it is. Because, you know, people look through their eyes and they think this is the world, but it isn't. It's a tiny, tiny frequency range within an infinite energy field of infinite frequency ranges. And basically it's like a holographic television channel.